Hey guys, the new season of Marvel Snap is almost upon us, and with the new season comes a new season pass card. Later today we should be getting Nimrod added to the game. Nimrod is a 5/5 that says when this is destroyed, add a copy to each other location. Now obviously this card synergizes really well with any destroy effects like Carnage, Destroyer, and even Galactus. Nimrod also scales really well with buffs, so you can do something like Shuri into Nimrod, and then destroy it next turn for a bunch of 10 power Nimrods flying around the board. Now, the consensus in the community is that Nimrod's probably an okay card, probably not as broken as, say, the original Zabu, but I have reason to believe that Nimrod may be a little bit stronger than the community is thinking at the moment, and one of the reasons why I think that is because Nimrod kind of plays around two of the more popular tech cards at the moment, Shang-Chi and Arrow. Now if you do Shuri into Nimrod for instance, nobody's going to want to Shang-Chi that because that just creates additional copies of Nimrod. And if you for instance play Destroyer on like a turn 6, you're going to have a bunch of Nimrods around the board as well, which makes playing an Arrow a little bit less consistent and less predictable. So this is the deck that I've theory crafted for Nimrod on release. I'm sure it's far from optimized, but the theory behind the deck is that I've created multiple avenues of play and multiple win conditions. Now, for instance, like a normal Galactus deck is a pretty linear deck. You want to ramp into like Dr. Octopus or Leech and then play Galactus into, a Death or a Null, something like that. But for this deck, there's a lot of endgame win conditions and some interesting lines of play that you can take. You can use the Electro to ramp into like a Nimrod, into a Destroyer, and then Arnim Zola either the Nimrod or Destroyer for a bunch of Nimrods flying around the board. You can also use Shuri into Nimrod and maybe even Galactus on turn 6. And just Shuri, Nimrod, Galactus will create a 22 power Galactus lane at the end of the game. And having all these different options available to you also makes it more difficult for your opponent to predict and play around whatever it is you're trying to do. If you want to experiment with this type of deck, I'll leave the deck code in the comments below, and you can feel free to swap around cards that you may not own or don't necessarily fit your playstyle. For instance, you could definitely cut Sabretooth. If you want to lean more into the Galactus route, then you could play something like Null or Death. You could play even more buff cards and more destroy cards if you want to really go full Nimrod. That's really up to you. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people experimenting with the new card once it releases. If you do end up trying this list or something similar to it, let me know how it works out for you. I'm really interested to see how it works across various points in the ladder and how people would find it in their climbing into Infinite or whatever your rank goal might be. So that's it for now, guys. Again, I'm leaving the code in the comments. Feel free to tinker around with the deck, and see you guys next time.